It all started in the 1960s. Computer scientists created machines with more than one processor, so they could do two or more things at once. They called this machine power multitasking, a term that was never meant to be applied to human beings. But we did exactly that, and so was born the dilemma of the 21st century, brain rot. When your mind is a freaking mess because you can't focus on one thing at a time, usually from overstimulation and consuming way more things than your brain can actually handle. Most people can't escape this, but I did. I trained myself to a point where I can focus for 4 hours straight in flow. It didn't happen overnight from one or two hacks, but from a series of changes I made over the course of many months until my brain literally changed. This is the average YouTube experience. There's a limit to how much information we can absorb before our brains stop processing it. Our brains have a cognitive bandwidth. Once it's depleted, it needs rest. Several experiments done by scientists show that people who read faster retain significantly less information than those who read at a natural, comfortable pace. But the truth is, after this video, you're probably going to keep consuming way too much content. In which case, something I do is I at least try to write down notes for what I consume, for videos I watch or books I read. It's a way to deliberately slow down the pace at which I consume content, and it forces me to retain the information so I actually remember it. In fact, I organized my entire life in Notion, and it's made me productive like never before. Check out the link in the description for both a free and premium template. If you're going to watch a video, try to actually finish the majority of it instead of going 30 seconds in and then cramming in the next 10 videos. If you're going to listen to a song, listen to it fully without skipping to the next one in the next 10 seconds. And if you're going to read, stop skimming. It's a good practice to try reading books again. Reading is like a workout for your attention span. It slows you down, it demands patience, and trains you to focus. I try to spend most of my days doing meaningful activities that put me into a state of flow in almost everything I do. What I mean is, when I do a task, I use my brain's 100% horsepower. I forget about everything around me. I feel like I'm floating and like nothing else matters. My calendar doesn't look like a chaotic mess where everything is smooshed into like 1 hour. To enter flow, there are 3 things you need. 1, a specific goal. For example, finish writing 1 chapter of a book. 2, it must feel meaningful. I love writing. 3, it can't be too easy or too hard. Some common flow activities are reading, playing a sport, drawing, writing, etc. When people do these activities, they are fully immersed in it. And I started to replace scrolling with these kind of activities. But let's be real, not everything is fun. For example, I find it hard to focus on my university work because I'm not as interested in it. But I found a way to make it easier to get into flow for these boring things. And that is to force curiosity. Back in school, my maths teacher told me, Anne, if you tell yourself you hate maths, you're never going to study because that fixed mindset just shuts off all curiosity and your will to learn. Instead, tell yourself you don't hate it and ask questions about it. For example, with physio, I'd start to question things. I'd be like, why do pleural effusions happen? What's the cause of it? What happens if you don't ever resolve it? And to some extent, all of us are naturally curious, and you can activate that and be in flow by simply asking these questions. You don't need to force it because your brain has a cognitive bandwidth, and you need to respect that. I do the work just up until the moment where I feel that resistance in my head, in which case I take a break and then I come back. And over time, the resistance will be delayed. Your focus stretches with practice. It's also very important not to multitask, because when we multitask, our brains switch back and forth between tasks, and this consumes time. Mind wandering is another form of attention. It's when you let your brain rest in these small, quiet moments where you just drift. It's when deep thoughts surface. During this process, your brain automatically starts linking everything you've seen, read, heard, and learned without you even trying. It's when you'll get that one creative idea, not when you're forcing yourself to think, But when you're doing something simple like taking a shower, going for a walk, or just sitting in stillness. The problem is when you're constantly distracted, your brain is less likely to process and link all of these information together. So it prevents you from going into that deeper state of thinking and instead remains on a more shallow and superficial level of thinking. My phone is a tool and I'm rarely ever distracted by it. I'm really strict with social media. There are no excuses for using short form content for more than like a minute. It just fries your brain. It's just so bad. And I haven't scrolled for more than a minute for so many months, and it does wonders for your focus. I also avoid using socials like Instagram, which has a constant feed to tempt you. And I only use the Safari version of it if I ever need to check messages. And what's interesting is that over time, when you get used to not using these platforms, you don't really give a crap what others are up to in the nicest way possible. And at least for me, I get the relief of missing out instead of the fear of missing out. And finally, I turn most of my notifications off unless they're absolutely necessary. It really triggers me when I'm with my friends and their phones are constantly going like ding, ding, ding every few minutes. It just really triggers me. It's so much more nicer to have a calm phone. Anyway, that's all from me today. Take care and bye.